Alright guys, so here we have a lovely little bowl of vanilla ice cream, and if you go ahead and watch the rest of this video, you'll see a step-by-step instruction on how to make this with a basic ice cream maker. And if you find the video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button so I can keep making these things, just because, you know, ice cream is awesome and you should always like ice cream. Alright everybody, well first things first, we gotta go through these ingredients. So first you're gonna need 2 cups of milk, whole milk, 2 cups of heavy cream, 4 egg yolks, 1 tablespoon of vanilla, and a big old cup of granulated sugar. And that's all you need, so 5 ingredients. And keep in mind that depending on the consistency you're looking for with the product, you're going to want to change the ratio of the 2 liquids. The more cream you use, obviously the creamier it is. The more whole milk you use, the more it is like more sherbety, more icy. Alright, so as you can see, the first thing we do is we take those egg yolks and we put them into the sugar and we bat it around until all that sugar looks yellow. You're going to keep doing this until there's no more white sugar remaining. It should just basically look like a bunch of yellow, I guess we're going to go with it, yellow snow. Why not? We'll call it that. So it's going to kind of have this consistency to it. It'll basically be a sugary, wet, yolky material. So nothing too crazy. That's what it looks like. The next thing we do is we heat up the 2 cups of whole milk. We heat that up a little bit. We do not want it to boil. We want it to get where it's steaming. So basically we want to see steam coming off of it. And you see right there in the video the steam starting to come off. And we're going to stir in that yolk sugar mix 1 scoop at a time. I'm going to switch to a spoon a little later on. But you basically want to dissolve it in there. Now, what'll happen if it's too hot is it'll end up, for lack of a better term, it'll be curdling those egg yolks. It curdles the wrong term, but it basically cooks the egg yolk. So what you might end up with little floating bits of egg. That's actually okay. It will not destroy your final product. What you do is you take that liquid and you run it through a sieve to pick out any chunks that happen. So if you do happen to make the mistake, leave the burner on too high or whatever, you have not ruined your ice cream. You just run it through a real quick sieve. It could be a bread sifter sieve, but it just has to be a more fine sieve. That'll basically take care of it, so don't panic if that happens. But as long as you keep the heat on low, just again get it to where it steams, you'll be okay. It won't make any chunks or anything. And if you can't tell by looking at it, you should see some color changing happening. And this is where you see the homemade look to the ice cream. Most homemade ice cream actually has egg yolk in it, in case you couldn't tell from the recipe you're looking at right now. But basically, this is why a lot of, like, even Breyer's quote-unquote homemade ice cream has that kind of yellow tinge to it. It's not the vanilla, it's actually the egg yolk they use when they make it. And here's a quick before and after, just so we kind of just see how much that egg yolk actually affects the general color of the final product. Alright, our next task is making sure that this stuff is heated through. You do not want this to simmer or boil. Again, you want it to heat for about 2 to 5 minutes, basically getting up to about 170 degrees. So when you see it steaming like that, you're basically getting close to that temperature. This is to kill any germs. It could be in the egg yolk, for those who are afraid of that. I've done this on a very low heat and not any issues, but if you're more food sensitive, you might want to go ahead and get this a little hotter. So that's the only thing you got to do, just get it steaming, let it go for about 2 to 5 minutes, and that usually takes care of it. Next, we take our heavy cream and we place that into our freezing basin for our actual ice cream maker. And then we're going to actually pour in our mixture of egg and whole milk here. So the last thing we add in is going to be the actual vanilla flavoring, and this could also work if you like use banana or some other flavoring in there. One thing you'll want to note is that if you are using a traditional salt and ice style old-fashioned ice cream maker, or a frozen basin maker, the kind you put in the freezer overnight to get real cold, you are going to want to chill this mixture before mixing. As you can see here, I have a self-contained ice cream maker with compressor in it, so I don't have to wait for it to get cool. It'll just keep staying cold until it's all done. But if you do have one of those traditional style makers, definitely make sure it's frozen. So this is after about an hour or so of churning. It'll take less time if you chill your mixture overnight, but you get what amounts to a soft serve ice cream. So this is the result right out of the bin, and the last clip is going to show you what this thing's going to look like after you let it sit in your freezer overnight. It's much more scoopable. So if you want a good ice cream that you scoop really well, all it takes is taking this mixture right here, the soft serve kind of result, put it in the freezer overnight. The next day you'll have nice, easily scoopy, creamy, wonderful homemade vanilla ice cream. Now this is what I'm using, just a Pyrex freezer safe dish. This is something close enough to airtight. That's the key, guys. You want to make sure it's airtight. Don't let it sit open or you'll end up with a really bad freezer burn really fast because of the amount of moisture that's in this product. So there you see, it's a lot like soft serve ice cream. Super yummy. In fact, every time you see the spoon disappear, it's me eating some of it. So that's what's happening here. It's really, really good. My in-laws actually took a good chunk of this because I had to take pictures of it, so it looked pretty. But this is basically it. I actually overfilled it. So this makes about 1.5 quarts. So that's how much it's going to end up making. One thing about this, if you happen to have an ice cream maker that's a little more high-end like mine, which is like $300, that's going to basically have its own compressor. If you leave this thing in longer than an hour, there's a chance it might froth up and basically whip. So that's okay, but the problem is if your ice cream is only made to fill up to 1.5 quarts and it starts doing a whipping thing where basically the ice cream turns into whipped ice cream, it still tastes delicious. Actually, some people like the texture even better, but it will overflow on your basin. So we want to avoid that. Just a little warning about general ice cream maker use. All right, and here we see the final product that's been frozen. We're going to scoop up some so we get a nice, cool little, perfect little ice cream scoops. Works out great. Really happy with it. But again, a simple 5-ingredient recipe. The only thing that's a little technical is doing those egg yolks, but even that isn't too bad. And if you make a mistake, like I said, you can always run it through a sieve and you'll basically end up with the exact same product that I have here at the end of it. Be patient with the ice cream. And one little trick that a friend of mine did, if you have a frozen basin ice cream maker and you have a nice thin extension cord, what he used to do, because he lived somewhere where it was very hot, he'd never keep it cold enough. He would basically actually put the ice cream on a shelf in the freezer while the maker was going and let it go for an extra couple hours in there and got a really good product out of that. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, that's a little hack you can kind of work with. But there you go. There's some basic vanilla homemade ice cream. Really, really yummy. Really, really good. And like I said before, if you find this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps out the channel and makes it so I'm more inclined to do more of these. I'm going to try out some funky flavors in the next few weeks. Thanks, guys, and you have a great day.